Okay, welcome. Game 7 of USA versus Austria. We're going to have Dustin Archer playing Stark versus Robert Charvat. Sorry if I butchered the name there. Austria playing Night's Watch. Let's take a look at the decks real quick. It's Night's Watch Summer, which to me says Builders. Is that right? Is this a Builders deck? It looks like a Builders deck. Reset Valor D. Then on the Team USA side, Bara. Uh, Looks like it's got some healthy R'hllor mixed in. Restricted is Forced March. And you do not see a reset there, do you? So let's log in here.
Hello, hello.
Good timing, good timing.
Well, if this game goes like testing, it's not going to take too long.
Okay, so what does that mean?
This is a bad matchup for us. Um, even on average starts, this builder matchup has been quite an issue.
All right, for those listening at home, I believe we've been joined by Tom McKenzie.
Yep.
I'm trying to do everything. I'm noticing anytime I click off like my main screen, that's an excuse for OBS to stop streaming or
Gotcha.
freeze up. So I'm trying not to do anything other than just stay on the game as we play here. But who knows why this is such
Uh,
an issue?
so starting off on setups, we've got Fast Bob, Warhammer Reducer, which is generally a solid start for Bara. But we have Maester Mullen, Three Finger Hob, and Castle Black Mason on the other side. So right off the bat, Night's Watch has the tools to slow down Bara as well as start finding the resources they need. Um, Opens at the gate alone. Dustin here is just trying to get going as fast as possible because the only way he's going to really be able to take this game is by immediately just rushing down the board. He can't let builders get set up at all.
He also has no reset, right? So
That's the other big thing. The builders can go as wide as they want without any punishment. The only reset is, I believe, on the builder's side, Valor Dahyrus. Otherwise, they can just go as wide as they want. The other big thing is on Night's Watch, they've got 3x Yorin, so that can also leverage a lot of tempo by stealing a key piece away.
mm-hmm.
We get the army of reducers just hitting the board. And we've got Stannis with Lightbringer. So he's got the two bigs he wants. And he's also got the chuds to be able to, survive through a Valor Dahyrus without losing a lot. So I expect just attachments, maybe locations. Yeah. No other characters.
There's nothing. Is there any? Okay, so what's the thing that allows something to participate in every challenge? Is that part of this deck as well? Just because, like, how do
Uh,
you? Go ahead.
the Azor's Eye Reborn.
Yeah.
Is that what you? Yeah. Yeah, it's
I'm
in
just
the
like, how do you
deck.
get more than one challenge out of Robert here?
Yeah. Currently on this turn, you're not really getting more than one challenge out of
Mm-hmm.
him. Lightbringer's already on Stannis, so unless he wins 2 challenges and like turns the Lightbringer to something else and then back to the Lightbringer on Bob. But I think Dustin's just trying to spread out and not commit to one over the other yet, because one Craven or one Milk of the Poppy can immediately force him to have to switch to the other target, and he needs to be able to Voltron and immediately rush down, preferably with Bob. Halder's an annoying piece there. Underground Vault. So even right now, they've got the builders to immediately be able to tutor. I'm actually kind of surprised that after they got the H Craftsman down and Halder, they didn't kneel Castle Black Mason and H Craftsman to tutor. But it looks like they're doing that now with Halder instead. Go get Milk of the Poppy. And that's going to go on Robert. Now, unfortunately, there's not a lot of attachment control. About the closest is just Heir to the Iron Throne and clearing the character out by replacing with another character. Or if Valor to High-Risk gets flipped, you can just bury them. But otherwise, there's no good, clean way to get rid of that Milk of the Poppy. No Maester Crescent, and no confiscation or weapons at the door. So with that said, just on a strength level, Dustin's going to be able to win at least one challenge for sure.
Should be able to win 2, right?
Yeah, he can definitely win 2. Let's imagine Maester Mullen is going to affect Stannis, so Stannis only gets in on one challenge, since that's where the live renown is. Fortunately, with Stannis' reaction on the military, he'll be able to at least win a power challenge and then get the draw from Stannis. But given at least the start of Night's Watch's board, should be rough going.
You said this game was going to be fast, but it may not actually be over. It might be over fast, but it may not actually end.
Yeah, it more so the inevitable can set in. That's typically what happened in testing, where it wasn't so much Night's Watch gained to 15 as there was no answer from Bara. Because all it takes is like even one abandoned stronghold hitting the table, and all of a sudden you have a big buff. The Shadow Tower Mason not having military injury right now is also another kind of surprising thing, because it's not going to take too much to get them live, and then they're the most efficient blockers on the table.
Excuse me. I mean, can this deck get unlucky and just not see the wall? I mean, what stops that from happening, or is that even necessary?
Well, it can certainly happen, but the problem is with Castle Black Mason, you're almost guaranteed to be able to go for it, just because you can 2 times a turn just be able to go digging. And even then, the wall isn't so much the highest priority as is go and grabbing the abandoned strongholds like Brandon's Gift, and just being able to start playing everything out and get established, and then put the wall down.
Hello, Yvonne, in chat.
So we had the military one, H-Craftsman claimed, and then cohort into a Warhammer to get the Intimidate. Then we're having Power with Bob, who also has a Warhammer, so he'll be able to really restrict any crackback. So that's the one line that Dustin really needs to try and run with, is get going as fast as possible and then not allow any strike back. Because even with Bob blanked, he's still a big body that has Intimidate.
Is Dustin actually running Crescent?
He is not. All right, so we're having at the gates into exchange here. So I expect Dustin will be made first player here, since, yep, typical of builders wanting to go second.
Even against that Intimidate?
Yeah, because you're able to respond with Cravens, Melts. Like, all it will take is like one or two Cravens, and you can immediately start slowing the board down. Yeah, and in the attachments, looks like there's one Milk, one Craven, and also and a Siege by the Guard, which thankfully in this case was there. So just a Holder Dupe, Brandon's Gift, Watch His Need. But the Brandon's Gift and Watch Has Need are the two best cards, because Brandon's Gift's going to let him play to the board and just start going faster with Econ, and then Watch His Need is going to let him grab even more builders. All right, so we have Disputed Claim to make Bob even stronger and give him Renown. So still no reaction, but it's at least a workaround to, again, try and just power through this match. And then an Activated Flame just to get an Intrigue icon on the board. Yeah, Dustin's just missing that 3-cost attachment, either to turn it into Azor's Eye Reborn or to actually have it be it, to be able to really start powering down this game. But 9 gold to start with on Night's Watch is going to get a lot of value with still 13 cards in hand.
How did he get to 9?
So there's Gates of the Moon on each side, and King of the Summer, and then
Summer. Okay.
the Underground Vault. So
right, which he knelt already. Okay.
yeah, so that's an additional 6, and then the 3 from the plot. Yep, so we have a Watch Has Need. It's like build its wall, Castle Black Mason, and Grizzled Miner, and those are just going to start dropping out and doing Brandon's Gift triggers. Castle Black's a really good card for them to see, because that allows them to be able to more efficiently defend. Still no abandoned strongholds, though. Practice Blade. Just get more icons down.
Sorry, what knelt these guys?
Castle Black Mason.
Okay.
I think it's happening right now, right?
Yeah, that's So he's likely digging for either Craven, Bandit Stronghold, or Milk the Poppy at this point. Is what I expect he wants to see. Underground Vault wouldn't be awful either, but it's not what you want to see this turn. The other threat of like putting out the wall before you're ready to defend is Seized by the Guard is in Dustin's deck, so he can absolutely go and tutor it out and then just lock down the wall. Board just keeps getting wider.
And that's not gonna stop.
No.
I'm already suspecting I'm gonna have to adjust my the size of my screen a few times.
Yeah, because in Bara Cohort, the typical reset is Wildfire, which is not in this plot deck lineup. Because otherwise, that would really force the builders matchup not to go this wide, or at least be able to immediately reload.
I mean, this you guys tell me this bear deck is designed to win pretty quick, right?
Yeah, it can still certainly win quick. Now, of course, with the restricted list, the Bara Cohort can't take all the same pieces like the Sleece, Great Halls, and King of the North that were typical to the deck.
Mm-hmm.
And instead, actually, for the restricted, Force March went in because it helped get it over the top of other like mid-range decks. It was pretty much a sacrifice certain matchups in favor of being able to win the mid-range. And it can certainly go quick, but you do need certain pieces to do it. Like Azor's Eye Reborn is a really big one to be able to just close out immediately because you're able to get your one big Voltron target just renowning out.
I guess my question would be, if a deck's designed to win pretty fast, how do you not have, I don't know, like how do you not have a reset if you're, I mean, maybe do you need all of those plots just to have a lot of versatility in your first three plots kind of thing? Like it seems to me like the shorter your window is to win, doesn't that, am I making any sense?
Yeah. Typically, at least when I would run a rush deck, there was the 3 to 4 plots you were almost guaranteed to be flipping, and then one reset and 2 utility plots
Mm-hmm.
is typically the build. Bara Cohort is a bit more flexible normally because there's going to be times where you can rush down, and then other times you can like slow the game down and just play with my characters are better than your characters.
There, by the way, is the Seized by the Guard you kind of predicted.
Yep. Yeah. Though this one hitting Castle Black
That's on
because
Castle
that's
Black too. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, Dustin's pretty much accepted that waiting for the wall, it's not going to be important. He needs to lock that down.
Mm-hmm. But cohort means he can kind of always go and get that, right? Or does he only have the one seized, or is that
He's only got one.
Yeah, he's only got the one.
okay?
And there's also no recursion or shuffle back in. So that's
That's that.
all we're going to see of that. having a giant military challenge here with both of them. And then Maester Mullen's going to make sure Stannis can't do the power challenge on the attack. So just locking him down to this challenge.
Yeah, that's probably fine. I don't think that's really even that high impact.
No.
Since the Night's Watch player doesn't have any power in their house yet to steal, so.
Yeah, it's just one more challenge in like Renown and like cohort trigger at most. And Stannis is just going to stand up for defending. So I expect Shadow Tower Mason being intimidated here, and then Stannis can choose to block the power challenge if they try and swing it. Though they have the power to actually get over top at the moment. Milk the Poppy going on Maester Mullen to shut down that ability.
Yeah, could have.
Oh, he's doing the power challenge with a reducer to force down a kneel at least, or at least take an unopposed. All right, and now he's able to defend any challenge on the crackback. Because
Also Neil's the last builder, or the second is the last builder, so there's no.
Oh yeah. And actually, with Holder, he actually could have cracked a challenge getting over top. He would have been able to kneel, Practice Blade, Brandon's Gift, and Castle Black to win 8-7, but he chooses no challenges.
Okay, 5-0.
Yeah, I mean,
and we're at time. That's it. That's the game. We'll just call it right here.
in a position where we've kind of the game's kind of already gotten away from Dustin. I don't see that there's really a lot that he could do even at this point.
I mean, even at this point, if the builder player wanted, they could just flip Valor D and still keep quite a bit of a board. And they've got 9 cards.
It's a positive thing for Dustin, though.
Yeah,
I don't think that you really...
It absolutely would. It was just, I don't think they flip it here. I'm just saying, like, if they do, even then, like, they don't lose all that much.
Right.
Instead, let's see. I want to be surprised for another exchange or Time of Plenty or even Calm over Westeros as being, like, any of those. Doesn't really matter. So we have Fire in the Gates, Time of Plenty. This does give initiative to Dustin, so he's going to make builders first. Because right now, what that's telling me is Dustin did not have a Red Priest in hand, and he doesn't have a valuable target for that. Really, a Euron trigger is going to hurt him a lot with. So he's fine just sitting back here.
Only 15 gold on the Night's Watch side.
Yep. Yeah, Underground Vaults do a lot of work, and then he already has the Eastwatch Carpenter, and there's one Abandoned Stronghold. And that's +8 to any challenge on defense. Looks like, yeah, watch his need. Only grabs 2 builders off a reserve 8. But it's an aged craftsman was in there, which is the most important because he's already down to 25 cards. So at this point, it's very efficient. Like the odds of them. Oh, I was about to say the odds of them like not seeing another Abandoned Stronghold felt pretty low.
Let's go wider. So
It's
if you're
very
if
reasonable.
you're on the conclave and you're part of the design committee, do you give any thought to? I mean, not that builders is any kind of completely dominant thing in the meta or anything like that, but it is just kind of boring. I mean, do you do you try to eliminate some kinds of decks just because they're unpleasant to play against? And if you did, like, what would you even do to take
Well,
this out?
certain decks not being playable, it's like depending on like the whole like one turn combo decks, like those not existing, it's fine. I'm not gonna say builders is so much on that level. Like it's definitely annoying to play against, and if your
Yep.
deck's not prepared to, it's usually scoop it up and you're done. Um,
I don't want to stream it.
and there's a Craven down on Stannis to further slow him down. So
All right. We're there.
yeah,
We're now at the point where
yeah, this is the point where it feels like the headlock is in and we're done. But we're not done. But yeah, another banned stronghold. So right now there's I believe 10 builders. So that's plus 20 he can put in on a challenge on defense. So at this point, with enough icons on the board, Dustin's not going to win any challenges.
Night Watch player does only have 22 cards left in his deck. So.
Yeah, I think Dustin's best hope is to just force a mill out. And then Shadow Tower to really put the nail into the coffin. At this point, the wall can now hit the board safely because that wall's not getting out. And there it is.
in there.
There it is.
Yeah. So Yvonne in chat, I just think there needs to be like a streamers alliance that we don't. Let's just not carry these games because that's clear. But although that would have no effect, World Cup people don't care because no one's actually. We don't need to stream these because no one actually wants to watch them. So if there's no audience, why do we have to broadcast it?
Yeah. Yeah, no, this turn between Shadow Tower and then the wall and the Abandoned Strongholds, it is pretty pointless. Like even this Melisandre here, you kneel one character out of this horde.
Sure.
Like even with Azor's Eye at this point, it's not enough. And
Only an hour left. Good win on time.
It would take a lot of slow playing because the walls already put the timer on. But yeah, in terms of like Conclave and addressing a deck like Builders, it's a rough spot because like so many cards like interact with this archetype that completely like removing it from the game would either involve restricting or banning so many cards that can also affect other decks.
Yeah, it's not even like one card. I don't think. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because even like on
I mean,
outside of like
is
banning
Brandon's
cards,
gift even essential here?
on Brandon's gift is helpful, but it's not required. Like it just speeds up how fast you go. But you can still run builders just fine without Brandon's gift. I think if you were going to address the deck in one way or another, is you'd have to like set up a restricted list or at least like a pod format where it's the how are you going to defend the wall. You can take like maybe the attachment suite or you can take the location suite. So like you can have Craven, but you can't have like Abandoned Strongholds. You can have this or not that. Like, and even then, that like Abandoned Strongholds just feels like a stronger choice. But that's one way you can possibly look at it, is just force them to choose what tools they have and not all the tools.
Mm-hmm. These are tough design decisions, and like the Conclave doesn't even have the same incentives that like Fantasy Flight would have had, because like Fantasy Flight is selling product. They have an incentive to make sure that like all the games are fun. Um, like, yes,
Yeah,
balanced and competitive is important, but like it's a game, it should be
yeah,
fun. And I feel like
Yeah,
that is one of the things that got away from them a little bit, or it's hard to even anticipate when you're designing things. It's like, oh yeah, I mean, playing against a deck like this or Drown God, um, like, do you actually lose audience from having these kinds of decks in the game? Um, from just a business standpoint, you got to be careful with the kind of interactions you create. But it's hard to predict that.
yeah, because it's certainly important to have like different types of decks and
Mm-hmm.
styles. I think the most important aspect is that they are able to interact back and forth. Because the biggest knock on builders, and I won't defend it, is the interaction's gone here. Like, they've set it up.
Mm-hmm.
It's generally just futility and screaming into the void at this point of actually be able to do anything.
Right. And like it seemed like that was the standard that you should be kind of applying, is this game is supposed to be most of this game is supposed to be about the challenges phases and the interaction that takes place during the challenges phase. And when that ceases to matter, which is kind of the case with Drown God 2 a lot of times, it feels like that's when the game has gone astray. My 2 cents.
Yeah, because honestly, the challenge or combat phase in like a number of games like this is kind of a bit of a hallmark of it. It's like certainly being able to interact in other phases, but yeah, this just becomes a passing action window simulator for the challenge phase at this point. Like, Dustin swung a power challenge in just because he could, even though he couldn't win it. And result wise, it's the exact same as doing nothing. And again, 3-finger hop, just doing 3-finger hop things of drawing more cards. So we've got Close Call into Heir to the Iron Throne. So we're one step closer to a deck out on builders, because they're gonna have to put the dead card and into the discard pile and then draw one. And then Heir, I'm assuming he's replacing Bob or Stannis here if he's got the dupe in hand. I imagine so. Bob goes away.
This is his attachment control.
Yeah, there you go. And I'm trying to remember. Let me pull up the deck list quick. There is a 1 Isle of Ravens. So even then, like, the Builders players going to have the option to
Oh, there's
go grab
all
Isle.
Ravens over there. Oh
Yeah,
man, you really
yeah,
wish you had that seized by the guard back now.
yeah. So at this point, if I'm the Builder player, I'm going to, if I don't have it already, dig for the Isle of Ravens, and then everything else doesn't matter, because at 17 cards in deck, any Milk of the Poppy or Craven that goes away, you can just cycle right back in.
There it is.
Because I've actually played Builders a few times, and the Isle of Ravens, once your deck is this size, it pretty much means you'll almost always hit exactly what you want. And the horde grows. And
This is more what
Yoren's
a
going to
wildling
steal.
deck should look like. Who knew there were so many people on the wall?
And Yoren will steal Melisandre, but
Okay, going to
this
interface
point.
reduction number 2.
Oh, and spare boot. And Otho Yarwick with a haunted forest. So in case it felt absolutely impossible for Dustin to win a challenge or kneel the wall, we have reached that state. Like, the Builder 7's plot at this point is Valor Hires. They have no reason to flip it. In fact, that's the one thing that would save them from a mill out at this point.
That's a good point, yeah. Okay, GG.
I honestly, at this point, I'm wondering how long Dustin's going to play this out before just conceding.
The streamer might concede.
There's no out. Like, it's to the point where the Builders player could actually do all 3 challenges, win them, and defend all the crackbacks.
All right. Good night, Yvonne. I wish I could quit too.
Oh, a hunting accident. Oh boy.
This is where it's
Putting
nice
that
to
up.
already have 5 games in the win column.
Yeah, in testing, we kind of expected this one to come up as a loss.
Shuffle the watch hat's need back. Oh,
Oh
the
my
madman's gonna do it.
What other builders are there to even get? Geez, at this point, you could just name Stewart and try and get Maester Aemon and Dolores Ed.
I think we've been put in the sleeper hold. All right, who's thinking about something? What needs to be thought about?
There is nothing to think about. Unless, okay, they're actually going to do a challenge. So they're just seeing how many minions need to just come flying in on this power challenge. You know the Night's Watch player had enough resources when they still have 2 standing underground vaults.
So currently, yeah, we've got Tom and Alejandro here, and me, and I don't think we have anything to say.
There's not a whole lot. So, I mean, if we're talking about like in the weeds here, I kind of think this Red's God's Blessing going on the Bob is a mistake. They essentially have on-demand Milk of the Poppy, and so I would be playing with Stannis because his renown doesn't come from his actual text. So I would be playing with him. Eventually, you're going to draw into Azor High Reborn and have him be, your Voltron that you actually get power on. Your opponent's going to have to VD themselves and bring boards back to parity. And that's what you're playing for, right? Like you try not to lose before then. And maybe after the VD, you can assemble some kind of attack back when it's not just 800 strength on the other side for any challenge that you try to make. So, if we're trying to make critiques here, that's something that I would have played differently as Dustin. But really, there's not a lot to do. I mean, it's just such a massive advantage on the Night's Watch
that was
side.
the glimmer of hope. So like, not really going to happen, but if theoretically if it were to happen, that's how it would happen.
Right, yeah. So like, because it doesn't look like to me that the Night's Watch player is going to win before Plot 7, so they're going to have to VD themselves. Just a matter of what happens between now and then. And so if you can get this massive Azora High Reborn target, you might have a really good turn post VD. Um, they are just going to have a ton of gold, so they're going to replay a bunch of stuff. They also have,
Oh
this
God.
problem with
God damn it.
Dominance
That's
55 versus 21.
all right. I got that screenshotted there. That's
Yeah. So between the wall and dominance, they're getting 3 power every turn, so they can get 6 more power just from that without even winning any challenges. They're doing Castle Black Mason triggers to get another abandoned stronghold, so they can finally have 30 added to their side on defense.
it's weird what causes the stream to freeze. Like if I click on the interface or something, that just touching things. Yeah, don't click, Trey. All right, so let's change the subject here. What's the proper sportsmanship about like playing things out to the bitter end? Would a concession here be out of line at all?
no. Like I think at any point in the game, I would let my opponent concede to me, but I would not expect it from them either.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
don't.
like as teammates of Dustin's here, do you have any expectations that like you got to play this thing out, or
No. my stance is it's like for this type of match, if there were outs, like if he had like a Maester Crescent, he might like fall into, sure. If he had a way to deal with this board, like all right, doesn't really have either of those available.
mm-hmm.
Because like even Crescent at this point like doesn't really matter at all, because it's not the attachments that are killing you, it's the board.
You're right. The opponent is going to have to VD themselves in the next turn or two, though. Like it's
Yeah.
not.
If you want to like fight for the possibility, yeah, you can string it out and hope that after the reset, you're able to have like 1 or 2 turns where you just burst. So it's definitely not over, but it's over.
Well, it's something I think about a lot, just playing other games, especially board games. Is like one of the things I really like about like poker, for example, is that like you can fold, you can quit. In a two-player game, like you can always concede. You're not hurting anybody when you concede. The issue is like when you're playing a four-player game and like you have no chance of winning, and what you really want to do is say concede, let's play the next game, but like you have to sit at the table for another 2 hours to be a good sport for the other players in the game whose game isn't
Because they're
decided.
still playing. Yeah. Oof,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's just not the case here. Yeah.
And that can very much crop up in Melee. It's
Hmm.
like where you'll have it where one person either just has a bad start or gets picked on by the 3 others and they have no chance of winning at all. So you can have that awkward where, well, I've lost. I'll just randomly king make someone.
Right. It can become destructive too with king making, right? Like what you actually want to do is have as little effect upon the other players at that point as possible, but it may even be not even possible. Like anything you're going to do is going to push things without actually
Yeah.
giving you a chance to win sometimes. Anyway, just
Yeah.
something
My
I think
stance
about.
on that is as long as you're jockeying for the best place you can get, like, all
Hmm.
right, I may be in 4th right now. Bet I can't win the game, but maybe like I can sneak out a 2nd. Like, and I apply this in Melee as well. It's like I'm gonna try and get the best position I can, and then just call it.
Yeah. Or even like I think you can always justify whatever you're doing by saying this is going to give me my highest point total.
Yeah.
Like that's I'm just playing for my best point total. The the secondary effects of that I can't really even worry about. But I mean, Melee already is a social game. Like that is
Yes.
it at it's explicitly like this is a personality game with a lot of diplomacy and a lot of social lubricant, and going into the interactions anyway.
Yeah.
Which is why it
But I
seems like
mean,
the
that same
well-liked
sort of thing.
players tend to do better at Melee anyway.
Yeah, but even like taking it to like just board games, typically you can very much have that where it's like, well, I'm out of any contention for first. It's like, but still trying to, instead of just like, well, I'm done. Like, as long as you're still aiming for getting the best possible finish you can, it's all good. And sometimes it is like you just have to scuttle a game. Like if people aren't also having fun, it's fine to just call it. At least coming back to the game, we've got Hob winning a injury challenge 2-2 and pulling Lightbringer. Which
Is that what's happening? I can't read the text. The text is too small now.
Yeah, and Lightbringer's already in play. Zorzai did get marshaled onto Stannis, so he is the de facto Ultron target.
Hey, there's a 3-cost attachment in play. Wow, mild.
And in case people are confused on just how wild the draw is in Night's Watch, especially builders, it is currently 12 cards, 31.
After 2 Isle of Raven triggers too.
Yep. Three Finger Hob's been down since setup, and I think he's triggered every turn, so he's gotten a few cards. And then all the tutoring from the Aged Craftsman, Castle Black Masons, Watches Need. It's pretty good. Here comes the 13 Strength Power Challenge, which, again, builders can just win it on offense.
Just opposing it. Just, slow down the game.
Look, you can't let them have the unopposed power.
I understand.
You can't lay down dead completely.
I'm not saying you should.
And just like a good, clean Game of Thrones game, no one is currently in the dead pile on either side.
Yes, that also offends me. That's maybe there. Is there an interesting card design idea behind that? Something where, like, as you get later into the game, not having characters in the dead pile penalizes you or something? I mean, something that would punish non-inter. Well, but then again, Drowned God's got tons of stuff in the dead pile, but they're not really dead.
Yeah. Because, like, Targ has, like, Saber's Report, which synergizes off, them having 4 or more in the dead pile. There's really not much that synergizes the other way.
Okay, I'm gonna get even nerdier with you guys, if that is to be believed. One of the things that's interesting about Game of Thrones is like you're reading the books and like the R'hllor, Melisandre seems to have real power. Like we do see some things that seem to suggest there's real magical power there. I don't remember anything from the books that ever suggested that Drowned God was anything more than a religion. Like we never see anything that actually looks like magic or something supernatural in the books. Am I missing something that you guys remember? I mean, they do the little drown trick where they, push people underwater and then bring them back, but that's lifeguard stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think there's
60 to
anything
17.
off. Yeah, and now it's 10-4, And we're still at least one more plot away from a solid validity. Ooh, exchange of information. we're, we're possibly going to go into single digits just off this plot trigger.
If he plays more characters, I'm going to go to Austria and slap him. Forced March feels so like it's a great card and it's so impotent here.
Yeah, it not having any form of reset's really showing here. Because outside of like the builders matchup in like a matchup against say like we saw a bunch of Greyjoy prints earlier, like Force March would absolutely do work because most of the stand effects outside of Euron is all reactive. So if you put them down, you're done, and like hunting accidents, milk the poppies, and all that can control those decks, and you just beat their reset and you're done. Builders doesn't care.
Is Dustin actually kind of being, I don't know, is he over kneeling in his Forced March here now that Azor Ahai is out, or am I, or like who? I can't.
It doesn't matter, man.
I know that's what I'm saying. Like it doesn't matter.
Like at this point, it's just turning cards sideways, and before draw phase.
Yeah, this is the most he gets to click. Okay.
He gets to do something.
If he can make the Night's Watch player draw 7 cards right now, that'd be amazing.
Seized by the guard, is it off or not?
Yeah, it just fell off because it had no gold.
But it's gonna sit in discard pile. There's no way to get it out of there, right?
Yep. Also to note, so 7 cards left in the draw deck. 4 cards are in the discard pile. 13 are in hand. Everything else is on the board. That tells you everything you need to know about the game.
The deck is gonna like quadruple in size after the VD.
And he has 22 gold, so he can afford anything. Oh, Bob gets Craven, so, you know. That will shut him down. I'm just imagining how stuffed full the playmatch would be right now if this was being played in person. Like, this is where you're just playing cards off the playmat, just randomly on the table at this point, or you're doing 2 rows of characters.
It's true. It's a good point. Like, this is not physically playable.
No, you can. A lot of these guys are non-unique. You can just stack those fuckers.
Yeah, it's fine. Just, I have a million of these. It's fine. So I guess the real question we'll ask is, will builders get to 15 on this plot? Because at Windom, they'll get the wall. So they just need to get 2 power.
20 characters.
There's no way for them to get 2 power. Right?
So Dustin just needs to oppose every challenge, and he can take us to another plot.
Then he plays Wind Die into the VD. Keeps the Stannis, keeps the Imri. Kills Imri, kneels out the board. And goes hog wild.
Surprise playing the Barrack there. At this point, if you're going to play for the reset.
But the Barrack is never a positive card. Because there's milk on demand on the other side, so
yeah, it's pretty bad.
You just need to you want to just play a card like it.
I've always wanted Barrick to be a little bit better, but
Barrick is kind of ridiculous, so you don't have any interruption for him.
yeah. And there was a point in the game where if you weren't playing against Lannister, all right, as long as you don't have a Bacon brother, you're good. And then Drown God Fanatic came out, and everything is just like, nope, can't play him. Which is disappointing because, like, Barrack is the type of card you'd want to have in the Greyjoy matchup typically.
Yeah.
Oh no, Ruby of Valor got discarded.
I kind of think Ruby Valor might have been better than Barrick. He passed a 21 gold up.
Yeah, 8 cards in hand, so he
And
can still trigger 3
underground bolts.
Sorry,
Sorry,
County.
All right, I think I made my point.
I'm not here sure counting even matters here. Like, if you win the power challenge, you go to 1. If you even win the military challenge, it can be opposed. And then you get Wall and Dom. That's only getting you 4 power. So you're not closing this turn unless Dustin just plays Possum and lets through an unopposed challenge. So you might as well just save everyone a load of time and just. Outside of like winning the power challenge, it's the difference between 13 or 14.
I'm against people commenting in the chat during a competitive game like on Twitch is where you should do it, but I'm tempted here.
And it's not like there's even a lot of concern of like, oh, how much do I have to hold back for defense? Like, you get plus 30 to any challenge that gets swung at you.
Yeah, he's
and then
still
Shadow
playing himself
Tower.
at this point. This is.
It's like, as long as you have literally a body that can just stand there and defend, you'll win a challenge. And then you have Shadow Tower to continue to shut down attacks. The only thing, like, I'm assuming it's just counting for how much power it needs to go in to win the challenge. So 24 strength, not counting any hold or triggers. And blocks for 1. All right, challenges have been completed. See if Dustin throws a token challenge in. Nope. Just
What's
take
the
the
Dominus
wall.
prediction? Okay,
Oh,
only
it's
54
20.
28.
All right, he didn't get doubled. Good job, Dustin.
Well, we didn't anticipate a 24 strength power challenge coming.
Oh, are we gonna Castle Black Mason trigger? Oh, he can't trigger Hob now.
Damn.
Grab Sweet Bottom Alley. That makes sense to be able to play back onto the board. So I guess the question we ask now is, who's sticking around after Valor D? And considering there's no duped characters currently on the board for Night's Watch, they likely have them in hand and just can play them out. I could see them keeping 3 Eastwatch Carpenters and a Builder at the Wall and just replay out everything. Yeah, they're currently getting 5 gold from each Watch Carpenter, so that would be 15 gold just from them. All right, well, we have Dustin going first. Now, we haven't seen Dustin play any Red Priests so far, so maybe we'll finally see them.
Yeah, I could play some Red Priests.
So
I could almost see him.
Snipe the Yorns from hand.
Is there actually anything to be? Is everybody just making their Valor D decisions here right now, or?
Yep.
I think so. Yeah.
I could see Dustin keeping Stannis and the 3 reducers, just trying to like play a board back out.
It's got to be Florent, right? Emery Florent's got to be the keep.
Possibly. You might actually do that. Alistair Florent will trigger here, so he'll at least get 1 kneel right off the bat of whatever's kept.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'll get to adjust my interface again. This will be good.
He'll get to zoom right back in.
This is crazy. Huh?
Don't leave home without a reset.
What? So he kept his
Oh,
littles.
He kept Florent, Anguy, Acolyte, Dragonstone Faithful, Dragonstone Faithful, Dragonstone Faithful. Okay.
So back down to 1 power.
Alright, got him right where we want him. This is the classic 14-1 comeback. Choo choo.
I'm gonna change the title on the stream to "Do not watch this video."
We have Eastwatch Carpenter, Eastwatch Carpenter, Eastwatch Carpenter, Builder at the Wall kept, as I predicted.
Okay, so his draw deck is 6, and it's going to go to
Lots.
22. What's your guess? 20.
It's silly. This is silly.
23.
I said it would quadruple, so I'm gonna go.
So 24 is what that
Gonna
would
go
come to.
24. Yeah.
And he still has Watch Has Need in hand, and he'll have 15 gold just from the Eastwatch Carpenters. Yeah, I
Maybe
think
Nap will deck himself.
better question: how many cards is he gonna play out on his turn? And I'm assuming right now they're ordering who's going to the bottom in.
Thank God.
Hey, look, Dustin's got the bigger board again. So we got 10 gold to work with, not counting reducers.
It is important that Emery gets triggered before it gets to Night's Watch players marshaling. Otherwise, Night's Watch player could have a sweet play of orienting the Emery and triggering Emery, kneeling the whole board.
Yep, either that or just even a Milk of the Poppy. Like, either one of those lines. But I think the Yorin grab would be the spiciest of them all.
Yeah, Yorin grab sets all your locations.
We want to see that, don't we?
I
I mean, what do we want to happen now?
You know what? I'm sold. I want that. Just a full-on sack of every location, not even keeping the wall. It's the only way to end this with any dignity.
All right, looks like CT will actually possibly be playing after this.
Speaking of builders, oh, we got Stannis the Manus back out.
Do we really want to encourage this builder nonsense again? Come on, guys.
I mean, he's playing against a deck that has PD, so there's at least something. Now the Red Priest took Milk of the Poppy. That tells me Yoren's not in hand, or he doesn't care. All right, we've got the Stannis Voltron set. Both Cravens are currently in the discard pile, but he has to have a Castle Black Mason. Oh, damn it! Dustin has sacked Sir Emery. Actually, we killed Sir Emery Florent to get the nail. The dream is dead. The dream is dead.
Does this mean this game goes on longer?
All right, so 21 gold to start off.
And I think I've been informed that that CT's matchup. Is CT playing builders?
Yes.
Oh God. I'm not. I can't do it. I can't do it. I just can't.
It's the thing is the deck he's playing against is slightly more interactive, but I do not blame you. The fact that there's like Arya's Gifts and like PD and even like a Valor to Hire, so the deck's more built to contend, but also builders. So run away.
I have previously scheduled engagement.
All right.
Just
Oh,
made
here
up.
we
Not
go.
watching builders was the previously scheduled engagement.
All right. So 11 cards left in hand. Oh, Flea Bottom Alley. That's going to draw another card. 19 gold left, 10 cards in hand. Just keep going. Just keep going.
Why are you punching yourself?
So currently, 7 builders can increase the strength up to 21 for any challenge. There's the Castle Black Mason. And a Craven was put back into... Why Craven? Why not the Milk of the Poppy? That actually does more. All right, we got a Yorin. Up and the concession.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in.
All right,
Here,
goodbye.
Probably have some good observations about the game, but they'll have to wait some other time. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for commenting.
Our
See you later.
sympathy.
See you sometime, hopefully, if I make it through this day. Okay, bye.